After lunch, Agatha was glad to get rid of John so that she could wrap herself in brightly coloured dreams of the curate. She longed to call on Mrs. Bloxby, but Sundays were busy days for the vicar's wife, and so she had to bide her time with impatience until Monday morning. She hurried along to the vicarage, but only Alf, the vicar, was there, and he told her curtly that his wife was out on her rounds. "I went to church on Sunday," said Agatha. "I've never seen such a large congregation."
"Oh, really?" he said coldly. "Let's hope it is still large when I resume my duties next Sunday. Now, if you will excuse me."
He gently closed the door. Agatha stood there, seething with frustration. Across the road from the church stood the house where Tristan had a room, but she could not possibly call on him. She had no excuse. She was just walking away when she saw Mrs. Bloxby coming towards her. Agatha hailed her with delight. "Want to see me?" asked Mrs. Bloxby. "Come inside, and I'll put the kettle on." Mrs. Bloxby opened the vicarage door. The vicar's voice sounded from his study with dreadful clarity.
"Is that you, dear? That awful woman's just called."
"Excuse me," said Mrs. Bloxby, and darted into the study and shut the door behind her. She emerged a few moments later, rather pink in the face. "Poor Alf. Some gypsy woman's been round, pestering him to buy white heather. He's rather tetchy with the heat. I'll make tea."
"Coffee, please."
Agatha followed her into the kitchen. "We'll go into the garden, and you can have a cigarette."
"You forget. I've given up smoking. That trip to the hypnotist worked. Cigarettes still taste like burning rubber the way he said they would."
Mrs. Bloxby made coffee, put 2 mugs of it on a tray, and carried the tray out into the garden. "This dreadful heat," she said, putting the tray down on the garden table. "It does make everyone so crotchety."
"I was at church on Sunday," began Agatha.
"So many people. Did you enjoy it?"
"Very much. Very impressed with the curate."
Mr. Delon. Did you see anything past his extraordinary good looks?"
"I spoke to him